Good morning from Las Vegas, Nevada. This is Natalie Hansen, and I am with,
Benjamin Nevadas.
and we are here to commentate the women's equipped and raw bench only bench national competition. So we have two platforms running. One platform will be raw and one platform will be equipped. And so we'll be commentating for both of those for the next couple of hours.
What an exciting time to be here at Nationals here in Las Vegas, the city that never goes dark.
We have, let's see, two flights of women. The interesting thing about bench only is that the flights can be up to 20 lifters per flight. As you're probably aware, they will only have one discipline, so the bench strategy is similar to deadlift strategy when you're looking at a full meet, where the lifters have two change opportunities on their third attempt to jockey for position. So if there are close competitions here, we will likely see some changed attempts coming in, and we are off. We are started. Okay.
That was quick. Nice.
Yeah, we're
I'm still trying to get lifting cast on.
so this is platform 3.
We have 52 kilos, 52 and a half kilos there on the platform number 2. And just as a reminder, you guys can go ahead and join us on liftingcast.com so you guys can watch a live feed on what's going on out here. We just had Andrea Lechin, Claudia Romero, and Viviana Subash go ahead and do their first lifts for the day. We had a green on Claudia, and then who got her lift, and then Viviana, who we are waiting for a call.
And on platform 3, we've had 3 successful attempts so far, and Nicole Thompson is up with 57.5 kilos on her opener, starting off a strong day for these ladies.
What weight class are we watching today?
This
Natalie?
is all weight classes for women. So the bench only division on the women's side tends to be a smaller division, so you often will see a lot of weight classes combined. I believe this session will be all classes.
Wow, that is pretty neat. Do you know how many lifters we have in this session here?
No, but I can count.
Cool. Just an average. Just kind of thinking out loud.
It looks like close to 30 on platform 3 and probably similar on platform 2. So a total of maybe 50 or 60 women doing bench only today.
Very cool. How does gear movements differ from some raw movements? I don't know how many new people are listening, but you are definitely very well educated in this field. What are some key differences that you think you see between these two key movements?
Yeah, so Right now we're watching only raw lifting, but I think in the second flight of both of these platforms, we will see some bench shirts come out. And it's you'll notice right off the bat because instead of wearing a t-shirt, the lifters will have sleeves that go down to their elbows, and that's means that they're wearing a bench shirt, and usually their arms are kind of like stuck out in front of them like a zombie. And so with a bench shirt, it's providing resistance on the way down, and then it acts as kind of a spring or stores potential energy in the chest plate of the bench shirt, and they're able to bench more weight than they are raw. So if you've used a slingshot or some other piece of equipment like that, it's similar but a little bit more resistance than just something elastic. So yeah, you'll see a lot of resistance on the way down. It'll be a much slower movement. Their grip will be probably wider than a lot of raw lifters, and then they will touch their chest and press in the exact same way. All the rules are the same as far as executing the lift. It's just that they are wearing an assistive piece of equipment. So we can get into that a little bit more when the bench shirts come out in the second flight, because it'll be easier to understand once we're seeing it on the screen.
Without a doubt. So on platform number 2, Eileen go ahead and got her first bench at 62.5 kilos, Diane with 67.5, and then Celeste, who is right now lifting. Looked like a good lift. She is opening with 70 kilos on the bar.
Great, and we've had Leah Lutz on platform 3 with a successful 82.5 kilos, and next up is Rachel Hannon with 87.5. 75 kilos on the bar for Shelly Brown. 75 kilos is a milestone for a lot of benchers because it's a red plate with a collar in competition. It's the biggest plate you can lift, and that's also a pretty big bench press at 165 pounds for Shelly, who is in the 50. She's in the 60 kilo weight class, so she weighs 132 pounds, and she's benching 165 on her opener. It was pretty smooth.
That is a really good, nice, fat bench.
Yeah.
So on platform number 2, we have Stephanie Onkner lifting 97.5 kilos and weighing in at the 65 weight class, or 65 kilos. Are the weight classes 60? Like, let's say 60 kilos is the weight class. Is it 60 to 70 kilos is the weight, or is it one down?
So the weight classes changed recently. So you might hear some numbers that aren't as familiar as previous classes, but now we have more weight classes. And I'm not ready for the trivia question of all of them, but 60 kilos is the body weight up to 60 kilos. So up to 60.0, and if you weigh 60.1 kilos, you're in the 67.5 kilo class. And then it goes 67.5 to 75, and then 75 to 82.5, and then 90, and then 110, or 100, I believe, and then 110. So the women's classes got a lot more representation at the high end of the classes. It used to just be 84 and then 84 and above, and now we have a lot more divisions up at the top.
They did a really good job of making those there. We have a all white lights for Miss Bella Johnson. Stephanie also got hers with all white lights. Bella's go ahead and do 102.5. Next on the bar we have Brains D and she is going to attempt 105 kilos.
That's a huge bench.
That's a fat bench. That's for
What's
sure.
her weight class?
She is weighing at 73.7, so
Wow.
then she would be a
75.
75. There you go. I'm gonna have to get used to those new weight
Yeah,
classes.
it's trippy. We have
Gino dressed up as
Yeah.
Elvis today. Oh my lord!
Gino was dressed as Elvis yesterday. I think that's his theme this week. He's
I love
taking a break. He let the pirate stay home, and he brought his Elvis costumes, including a wig. So
I love it.
he is all decked out
If
as
you guys
Elvis.
have never been to a USAPL meet, Gino would be the reason to come to one. At least one of the major reasons.
For entertainment for sure. So we have Charlene on platform 2 with 87.5, and that's a good lift for Charlene. And we are back to the top of the order with Andrea with 35 kilos. She was successful with 32.5. They only jumped 2.5 kilos, which is the smallest jump you can take in powerlifting, in USA powerlifting. And the reason you'll see a lot of smaller jumps on these lighter weights, and then you'll see the jumps increase, is because generally we take jumps as a percentage of the lift, of the load. So Andrea probably would probably prefer smaller jumps than even 2.5 kilos, which is 5 pounds, but that's the smallest option she has. So she is limited, but she was successful with 35, and I would bet that they're just going to go to 37.5 on her third. We'll see what the score sheet says.
Claire just smashed 112.5 kilos on that bar. Just insane speed on that bar. It was pretty fat bench, pretty awesome.
Claire Zai is lifting in the 75 kilo full meet later this week. She's the favorite to win. Yeah, and she has a big bench. She also has a big deadlift and a big squat. So
she's got big totals.
I would bet that today, she's probably going to push it a little bit today, but this is not her primary event of the week. She's really just gunning for a national championship in full raw powerlifting later. She recently went up to the 75 kilo class. She was competing at 67.5 and previously at 69 kilos last year at nationals, and I think decided that lifting at 75 and feeling a little more fueled and prepared for a meet was preferable. So she will probably bench over 120 kilos today, is what I'm guessing, and we'll see.
And we have Gretchen, who just completed her 116 kilo bench, and she got red lights. I did not see the colors on those flags.
Oh, she was wearing a bench shirt.
And she was wearing a bench shirt, that is right. And then we have next the famous Miss Jennifer Thompson with 125 kilo opening bench.
Wow. And Jen notoriously opens with something that's light for her. So that's 125 kilos is something that many men strive for their entire lives. But Jen opens with 125 usually, and that generally tends to secure the win for her. And then she takes some jumps, and her world and national records all kind of cluster around the 141 to 143 kilo range. That's like 315 pounds. I've seen her do a set of like 5 reps with 275, which is what she's doing for her opener here. So we'll see this move really well. And then I bet she will jump about 10 kilos to something around 135 on her second. We'll see.
I mean, really one of the world's best bencher, pound for pound, man or woman. I mean, just look at that.
Yeah, that was so easy. So smooth.
She has such beautiful form as well. I think you
Yeah.
mentioned something there, saying that she's able to do 275 for sets of 5. She chose a really, really quality opener. How do you select your openers as you are preparing for a meet?
Yeah, so Jen has a slightly unconventional approach to openers, and that's not to criticize. That's just that she doesn't have the same approach. So generally, most of the time, Jen Thompson's strategy is to open light and then take some big jumps. That takes a lot of skill and experience to successfully do. So a lot of folks will open their attempts around the 90% of their 1 rep max. And if that were Jen, that would be a lot heavier of an opener, and it would probably zap her a little bit for her later attempts. But most folks will open around 90%, somewhere between 89 and 91%, and then they'll take jumps from there to eventually, hopefully, hit a PR, so plus 100% plus of their 1 rep max. So 90%-ish on the opener, and then 95 to 97% on the second, and then, somewhere between 100 and 102% on their third.
Very nice. I like that. So we just had all white lights for Miss Sue Burns here on platform number 3.
And we've got Diane Nelson just broke some must be a division American record with 68.5. So if you see on the score sheet that there's a number that's not a 2.5 increment, that means that they have some record on the table. So this is this, as we were mentioning earlier, this is all weight classes, all divisions right now. So you will see some masters lifters competing within a flight that has some juniors and open division lifters, but they might not be competing directly with those folks. So Diane was successful with 68.5 and probably will improve her new American record on her third attempt. And we have Celeste successful with 75 kilos on platform 2 after that.
Debbie just went ahead and finished her second attempt with 52.5 kilos. Did an absolutely wonderful job. Next we have Brady Killian with 55 kilos on platform number 3 for her second attempt.
So far, this is looking like a really successful scoreboard. A lot of times, especially with equipped benching, you'll see a lot more missed lifts than what we're seeing on this raw side. Okay, Shelly Brown is successful with 77.5 kilos. That is 172 pounds, 171 pounds. And we have Christy Rice up next with 82.5, 182 pounds. So for right now, we only see 3 spotters on the platform, and you do see some folks using blocks under their feet on bench. Some people have a hard time reaching the floor, just depending on their flexibility or their leg length or their their technique. They just prefer to have the floor a little bit closer to them, and you can have blocks under your feet in increments of 5 centimeters, I believe, 2 inches. So it's like a 2, a 4, and I think a 6-inch height. That makes it a much more manageable lift for some folks who are shorter or have shorter legs. So you'll see the blocks come in and out depending on the lifter. We have Erin Hagen with 90 kilos on the bar. We're getting close to the 200-pound mark on platform 2. Erin is in the 55. She's 55 kilos, so she's in the 56 kilo weight class. She's benching 198 pounds on her second attempt. It was a slow press command. So the lifters get 3 commands on bench. They get a start, a press, and a rack. And the press command is the most crucial one because you have to wait until the ref calls you off your chest, and you have to demonstrate the bar has to be motionless. And how the definition of, or how motionless is defined is sort of a little bit subjective, and you will see some refs give quick press commands and some refs give long press commands. Some lifters will bobble around on their chest at the bottom and result in a longer press command, a longer pause on their chest. So it's sort of, there is some amount of subjectivity there that can be frustrating for some lifters depending on who they get as a head referee. But for the most part, everybody has the same experience because everyone competing against each other has the same head referee. So in theory, someone with long pauses on their chest is going to be pretty equal to the rest.
Some of those head judges see specific movements of that bar, either down, forward. We have different techniques whenever we're pressing. Some people will let that bar kind of dip into their chest, which forces that bar to still travel, so they won't get a press command until that bar entirely stops.
Yep, exactly. So we're into third attempts on platform 2. Andrea is up with 40 kilos, and so far we've only had 2 missed lifts on platform 2, which is pretty remarkable.
We are the same here on platform 1. Joy almost came off her chest. She didn't give it her best job there. And Leah, who just completed hers, got all green lights or all white lights. And then next we have Rachel attempting 92.5 kilos.
So Andrea was not successful. She did press it out. She did finish the lift, but it looked like she beat the rack command.